Today's adventure brings me deep into the San Bernardino National Forest, where I'll be searching for lost treasure buried in steel cartridge boxes by millionaire health guru Bernarr Macfadden. It is said that these boxes contain millions of dollars in cash, gold, and silver. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Rolling with Bear Man. As y'all can see, I'm already here on scene in Lake Arrowhead. I actually slept on the side of this mountain right here in my trusty longship. But before we journey deeper into the woods in pursuit of this lost treasure, there's a few things that we gotta cover first. Oh yeah, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Bear Man, and me and the longship go car camping and adventuring in some beautiful, super cool spots just like this. And if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button so you can join along on all our future adventures. We're also on the road to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, so it'd help a lot. Please. But anyways, there's 3 points that we should cover before we go on our treasure hunt. Now let's hop back in the longship and do exactly that. Alright, let's go over some backstory. Number 1, who was Bernarr Macfadden? Number 2, why would he even bury treasure in the first place? And lastly, we'll be covering possible locations of this hidden treasure. And I myself am going to explore this deep, dense forest and see what I could find. Who knows, maybe I'll strike it rich and this is the last video you ever see of me. Nah, I'm playing. Y'all are coming with me to the Bahamas. And yo, I got something super special today, and it's really going to help us in our pursuit of this treasure. We got ourselves a DJI drone, y'all. This is going to allow us to easily scope out the surrounding areas and decide on which specific section of the forest that I want to go hunt for this treasure in. But before we get into all that, let's start with number 1. Who was Bernarr Macfadden? Now for starters, Bernarr's birth name was Bernard with a D, but he ended up changing it to Bernarr because it sounded like the roar of a tiger. So that already gives you some insight into what kind of person Bernarr was. And I'll be referencing some notes on thunting.com. Shout out to the user Hardluck for the following information. The entry reads, Bernarr Macfadden, born on the 16th of August in 1868, and died on the 12th of October in 1955. Was that 87 years old? He was an influential proponent of physical culture, a combination of bodybuilding with nutritional and health theories. He also founded the long-running magazine publishing company, Macfadden Publications. Macfadden founded Physical Culture magazine in 1899 and was an editor up to the August 1912 issue. He eventually grew a publishing empire, including Liberty, True Detective, True Story, True Romances, Dream World, Ghost Stories, and much more. One of Bernard's most famous magazines was titled Sport, which you could say was Sports Illustrated before Sports Illustrated became a thing. Bernarr was a fitness and health guru, eventually rising to celebrity status. He was acquainted with people like Shirley Temple, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Clark Gable, Will Rogers, many more. And at the peak of his success, he owned several hotels and a major building in New York City. Bernarr also contributed to many articles and books, such as The Virile Powers of Superb Manhood, Macfadden's Encyclopedia of Physical Culture, Fasting for Health, and the Milk Diet. Bernarr even made an unsuccessful attempt to found a religion based on physical culture, claiming that his regimen would allow him to live to the ripe age of 150 years old. He was a flamboyant personality, inspiring millions of people around the world to live healthful and vigorous lives. However, he was branded a kook and a charlatan by many, was arrested on obscenity charges, and denounced by the medical world. Throughout his life, he campaigned tirelessly against pill pushers and processed foods. Essentially, he didn't trust modern health. Macfadden was married 4 times and had 8 children, 7 of whose names began with the letter B. Bernarr also established a number of healthatoriums. These institutions offered educational programs such as the Physical Culture Training School. He also established 2 boarding schools in Westchester, New York for young boys and girls. Not only that, but the Macfadden School in Briarcliff Manor in Scarborough and the Tarrytown School in Tarrytown. It says here that the Macfadden School took the younger children, with some being as young as 3 years old. Which in 1943, an advertisement in the New York Times magazine for the Tarrytown School read, "To meet the needs of a nation at war." And the boys at Tarrytown School wore uniforms and were subject to military discipline. Both the Tarrytown and the Macfadden School were only run for about 10 years, having been both closed by 1954. And in 1955, in New Jersey, Bernarr Macfadden died of a urinary tract infection after refusing medical treatment. Now, although most people believe that Macfadden died nearly penniless, his 4th wife, Johnny Lee Macfadden, claimed that there was still money, plenty of it, and that it was buried in various spots across the country. She claimed that Bernarr himself told her that he had buried the money in steel cartridge boxes, and that it amounted to over millions of dollars in cash, gold, and silver. The entry states that a couple people reported that they had seen Macfadden leaving one of his hotels carrying a bag and a shovel, and return with only the shovel in hand. However, as far as we know, all attempts to locate this buried treasure have failed. Many people close to Bernarr claim that these rumors of buried treasure is completely false and that there was no money left at the time of his death. However, in 1960, a steel cartridge box was found buried at a property once owned by Bernarr in Long Island. And inside the box was $89,000. This led many people to believe that the rumors of this buried treasure actually are indeed true. Now, before we get into the next section, I want to cover a number of notable properties that Bernarr purchased. We have a home in New Jersey that he bought in 1929. That same year, he acquired the Jackson Sanitarium in Dansville, New York, Hotel Duville in Miami, Florida, and the Arrowhead Springs Hotel and Spa, which is where we are today. Now, all of these properties could be the location of this alleged buried treasure. And this brings us to our second point. Why would Bernarr bury all this treasure in the first place? Now, it could be a number of possibilities. Maybe it was because of his many failed marriages. Maybe he was tax dodging. Or maybe he was just a crazy old man that thought he needed to bury all of his money. Now, it's important to note that Bernarr was actually threatened with jail time for unpaid taxes, amounting to about $10,000. Now, it's reported that he fled to Canada, returned periodically, and was eventually arrested. He was able to post bail, but ended up in prison after his trial. So there's a number of reasons as to why Bernarr might have felt like he had to bury all of his money. Now, this brings us to our third point. Where could this treasure be located? And like I mentioned, Bernarr is said to have buried multiple different boxes containing money throughout the country. But today, we're focusing on the possibility of treasure buried nearby Arrowhead Springs Hotel, which Bernarr Macfadden owned at the time. Some rumors say that the hotel cooks actually saw him going to bury this treasure. Others say that his wife caught him in the act of burying this treasure, leading to him promising to draw a map of the location of the treasure before his death. A map that never came. Now, the story of the Lake Arrowhead treasure, according to an entry on TreasureNet.com, goes as such. The cooks at work at the plush resort hotel glanced up just in time to see an elderly, barefooted man creep out a back door. He carried a small knapsack over one shoulder as he stopped at a tool shed and picked up a pick and a shovel. With these in hand, he headed up a path towards a large grove of pine trees. A half hour later, a young woman entered the kitchen and asked if anyone had seen her husband. Reluctantly, they told her what had happened. She left and walked up the path in hopes of catching up to him. About a quarter mile up the trail, she saw her husband. He was about to bury a metal box in a deep hole near the base of a large pine tree. At that moment, the old man looked up and saw his wife standing there watching. Flying into a rage, he chased her back down the trail, threatening her with a shovel. Sometime later, the man returned to the hotel, still angry at having been seen. He told his wife that before he died, he would draw a map showing where his money was buried. She could then dig it up and be the richest woman in the land, but until then, no one would know where it was cached. That afternoon, after her husband left on a business trip, the wife returned to the pine grove. The hole was still there, but it was empty. Her husband had buried the money in a different place after he had chased her off. The man's name was Bernarr Macfadden, owner of the Arrowhead Springs Hotel, then a health resort. The plush old resort is located a few miles of San Bernardino, California, in the foothills of the San Bernardino Mountains. No one knows how much money Macfadden buried, but he definitely was a multimillionaire who distrusted banks. The Arrowhead Springs Hotel and its adjoining 1,735 acres have changed hands many times since Macfadden died. He never drew his promised map. And today, the old hotel is a beautiful maintained retreat owned by the Campus Crusade for Christ. Macfadden's treasure is still there. Now, I just want to note that this entry comes from 2012, so I don't know if the owner has changed since then. But this Arrowhead Springs Hotel is going to be our on-scene location today, and where I'm taking you guys to go look for this supposed buried treasure. Fingers crossed, y'all. So without further ado, let's head down into Arrowhead Springs and see what we can find, y'all. As always, let's roll. This is blocked off. Not blocked off, but like there's a gate and a gate code. At least that's what it looks like. Okay, this is so I guess it's tribal property now. And I guess you can't get in unless you inquire. And it makes you think. Why is it all blocked off? Maybe they know about Bernarr's hidden treasure, so they block the land off so they can find it themselves. But let's find a spot where I can post up in the back of the longship and do a little research on this, because I didn't see anything online about it being blocked off, so I'm surprised. Alright y'all, there was a little pull off on the highway right outside the gate, so I pulled over here so I can get the drone in the air and see what's good in this fenced off section. As y'all saw in the video, there was a truck which looked like a security guard past the gate a little bit up the hill. And I would guess that I'm definitely not allowed to do this, so I'm gonna try to stay on the outskirts and just get a aerial view so I can see in without flying the drone actually into the property. But first, let's do some research. Alright y'all, the mystery deepens. I can't find anything online about Arrowhead Springs at all. Like, there's nothing about it being blocked off, and there's very little about what's in there. I wonder if this is the top of the hotel right here. But it's really strange that the whole entire area is blocked off, and there's huge no trespassing, you'll be violated, blah, blah, blah. It seems like they're trying to keep people out for a reason. And I think we know exactly what that reason is. Alright, y'all, time to get some eyes in the sky, see what we can find. And I need a name for this thing, y'all. Comment below with suggestions. Alright, to the air we go. Alright, y'all, let's see what we can find here. And I want to start by just kind of going around the perimeter of the property and see if there's anything that stands out to the eye, and then go from there. That road on the very left that you see the car on is the road that you take to get into the gate. And y'all, as we pan around, you can see that most of this land is pretty much undeveloped and untouched, which also makes it pretty strange. So this is the cattle that we can see from the car. Nothing out of the ordinary there, just looks like a ranch hand herding some cattle. And you could see there's someone standing next to what looks like an RV trailer type of thing, but again, that's most likely just a ranch hand tending to the cattle. Now I'm going to pan up to the mountain ridge line here, and I'm not exactly sure where this property ends. I don't think it goes all the way up the mountain, but I just want to get a look at the whole area. Alright y'all, now this is the reason we're here in the first place. You're looking at the Arrowhead Springs Hotel, formerly owned by Bernarr Macfadden. Now it's said that Bernarr walked from this hotel to the point that he buried the treasure. So it's got to be within walking distance from this hotel, and it supposedly was buried at a big pine tree. Now it's kind of hard to tell from the sky, but by the looks of it, there's plenty of pine trees around the entire property, so it really could be anywhere. Another thing that stands out to me is that the hotel is pretty much the only point on this entire land where there's any development that has occurred. And you would think that after so many years and having changed owners multiple times, that one of the owners eventually would develop somewhere else on the land, but it all remains pretty much untouched. So I wonder if maybe they know about the treasure too, and they don't want to risk developing any land that might contain the hidden treasure and risk burying it forever, like under a big building or something. Oh, look at this, guys. It looks like someone's approaching the gate. This little grayish car, it looks like. Okay, I think they actually just got through. I think the gate is that building on the left, that little orange roof building. And look, he's passing the security guard right now. Looks like he didn't stop and say anything. Huh, interesting. Now I'm pretty sure you access this property through a code at the gate, because it looked like there was a little gate code box. Which, even if this property is an Indian reservation, that still would be strange for that. I mean, typically anyone's allowed to go in and out of the reservation. It's usually not restricted to tribal members. Alright y'all, I don't want to be exposed up here for too long. Let's get back to the ground. Meow. Alright y'all, I want to go check out what's up here. Top of the hill. It looks like it's gated off. It says no trespassing private property. But I'm so interested to read that. Huh. Okay, I don't wanna do it. But guys, it's very weird how all the spots around the treasure, or supposed treasure location, are blocked off. It's like they don't want you to find it. They don't want to see me rich. Looks like I just gotta grind it out on YouTube, y'all, so subscribe, please. Oh, I think he's herding the cattle. I can hear him on the other side. And look, there's someone up there. Huh. I really want to go in, guys, but... And y'all, this is a much lesser known treasure story. I mean, it's not published to death. There's really not much on the internet about it. It's hard to find any information at all, which makes it that much more interesting because there are millions of people that know about it and that are looking for it. But I guess it'll be left a mystery unless you can get into that Indian reservation or whatever that blocked off area is. But I'm curious to think what y'all think. I mean, do you think there's still treasure in this blocked off area? Do you think the treasure has already been found by either these owners or previous owners after Bernarr? Or do you think the whole story is Cap, and there's no treasure at all to begin with. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what y'all think. Please! And y'all can see the arrowhead from here that Lake Arrowhead is named after. Now there's a bit of a legend behind how that arrowhead was originally formed. It's said that the early Native Americans that used to roam these lands discovered these springs because of this arrowhead, which actually points right to the hot springs, which are also said to have healing properties. But according to legend, a fire burned in the shape of an arrow, guiding the Native Americans to these beneficial hot springs. And as you probably know, the arrowhead is super significant in Native American history all over, as the arrowhead was the primary weapon, whether it was on spears, bows, etc. But because we can't get into Arrowhead Springs and see the hotel and look for our treasure, I think I'm gonna go try to find one of these springs and just take a quick dip. I'm not too sure about it, but I'm gonna see what I can find. As always, let's roll, y'all. Alright, found this little pull off on the side. There's another car here, so I feel like that means it's a spot you can reach the spring at. I don't know if I'm gonna go in yet, but hopefully I'm not intruding or anything. But let's go check it out. There's also like these rocks here that look intentionally placed. See these rocks and lots of trash, which probably means people. And you can hear the stream. Oh yeah, there's a stream right here. Woo! Oh shit, man. Yeah, look at this. Nice little stream. Doesn't look like it's very deep right here. Definitely not deep enough to plunge. Sounds like there's people down that way I don't want to disturb. Not bad, guys, not bad. Wonder if the treasure might be hidden up on this stream somewhere. I mean, he very easily could have walked upstream from the hotel and buried it at any spot along the stream, but I don't see any pine trees, and it said the first spot was at a pine tree, but it did say he moved it from there, so could be anywhere, guys. Looks like today it's gonna remain a mystery. And guys, I'm bummed. I'm sorry I wasn't able to explore the actual treasure area. Would have been super cool to see the hotel and the town and everything, get more of the story and see what it was like to actually be there. But it's alright, stuff happens. We still got a little glimpse using our new drone. And again, y'all, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this whole story, whether it's fake, true, if the treasure's been found or not, if there's something sus going on at that Indian reservation or whatever it is. Let me know down below. But anyways, that's gonna do it for today, y'all. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you go check out my Grand Canyon video on Kincaid's Cave, where I journeyed deep into the Grand Canyon looking for a lost, advanced Egyptian civilization that supposedly thrived in the canyon walls. Super interesting story. Go check it out if you haven't already. And that video just passed 5,000 views, which I'm stoked about. I haven't had a video get even close to that many views. So thank you guys so much. And y'all remember, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so hit that sub button, please. Next goal is 500. I think we're at about 420 right now. So let's hit it. I know we got it. And as always, appreciate the heck out of y'all for tapping in today. Hit the like, bell, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys on the next adventure. Peace, y'all.